Crooked Joe's failures, disasters, and heartless betrayals. You know that? While the stock market is making rich people richer, Biden's inflation catastrophe is demolishing your savings and ravaging your dreams. His sky-high energy prices, nobody's ever seen anything like it, are brutalizing your wallets. Our border has been erased. We have no border any longer. Drugs, criminals, gang members, and terrorists are pouring into our country. They're running wild in our Democrat-run cities, while Christians and conservatives are persecuted. And thanks to Crooked Joe's breathtaking weakness, he is bad. Worst president in history. The world is going up in flames while you suffer the ravages of inflation and your buying power goes down to levels never seen before. Your buying power has never been seen anything like this before. Joe Biden is a low IQ individual. He is truly the worst, most incompetent, and most corrupt president in the history of our country. But with your vote in this election, together we're going to save America, and we're going to bring our country back from hell. It's in hell. It's in hell. Not one thing has gotten better under Crooked Joe Biden. Under the Trump administration, you were better off. Oh, you were better off. Your family was better off. Your neighbors were better off. Your communities were better off. And your country as a whole was better off. America was stronger, richer, safer, and more confident than ever. When you had a certain gentleman behind the desk, that beautiful, resolute desk in the Oval Office. What was his name? His name was Trump, happened to be Trump. But it was all of you, actually. In a certain sense, you were all sitting behind that desk because that's what we're all doing together. We're in this together. We have a fight to save our country. We have a fight to save our country. Were you better off 5 years ago, or are you better off today? No contest. There's no contest. Nobody would say today. What a difference a president can make. It really does make a difference, a big difference, bigger than even I thought. If you go back 7, 8 years, I never thought it could make. It makes a tremendous difference. Since Joe Biden took over, we've had a 3-year inflation rate of over 20%. Under my leadership, inflation was non-existent. We had gasoline at $1.87 a gallon. After 3 years of Bidenomics, they call it Bidenomics from hell, the average monthly mortgage payment has gone from $1,746 under my administration to $3,322 today, but you can't get the money, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Biden's handlers are making the banks much richer and making you much poorer. The handlers, they are making the banks rich, and the banks discriminate against conservatives. They discriminate against religion because they're afraid of the radical left, I suspect. I think the bank regulators are doing a big number in the banks because they're not allowed to do business with you, and we're going to get those banks when we get in office. We're going to get them. Nobody knows the banking industry better than me, and I'm not going to let them take advantage of you any longer. They've taken advantage, and what they do to the people in this room, and by the way, millions and millions of others, is a disgrace. We're going to end it. Joe Biden and the Democrat Party are incapable of solving any problem. They haven't solved anything. They've only created problems. As long as Joe Biden is in the White House, the American dream is dead. But all of that will change the minute the polls close on election night 2024. It's going to end. It's going to end. The next economic boom will begin the instant the world knows that Crooked Joe Biden is gone and Donald J. Trump has won 4 more years as President of the United States. By the momentum of our historic victory, and that will be truly the biggest. I think we probably have #1 spot. I don't even think there's much of a doubt about it. 2016, But this is bigger. This is bigger. I never thought I'd say it. This is bigger. This will be a historic victory. By Christmas of next year, the economy will be roaring back. Energy prices will be plummeting. The hordes of people charging across our border will have ended. The invasion of our country will have stopped. Will have stopped. We will stop the invasion very quickly. We'll get Tom Homan. We'll get Brandon Judd. We have such great people. They'll stop it very, very quickly. Because just like 3 years ago, they know that I will catch them and send them home. We were sending them home by the thousands. MS-13, thousands and thousands of gang members sent back home. And the entire world will be safer and more peaceful because everyone knows that the days of American weakness, how pathetic we are, American weakness and submission will be over. It's going to be over. You know, we sent out, I don't know if you know, thousands and thousands of MS-13 gang members, the worst. These are the worst. We sent out thousands of them, and the countries didn't want to take them because under Obama, they never took them. They never took them. So when I came into office, the people heading up big departments were saying, sir, they won't take any of these bad people that they've sent over here purposely. I said, yes, they will. How much do we pay them? Because we give everybody money because we're foolish. So we stopped a lot of it, I will tell you. We would have stopped it all. But then a thing called COVID came along. We had to solve that problem. A gift from China, the China virus, you're right. I said, how much do we pay them? El Salvador, Honduras, how much do we pay them? They said $750 million. That's peanuts compared to a lot of them. I said, inform them that we're not paying them any longer. And I got calls from the three of them, Guatemala. I got calls from the three of them the next day. Sir, is there a problem? Yeah, the problem is you don't take. They would put airplanes on the runway so you couldn't land the planes with the people that we brought, prisoners that we brought back. We didn't want them in our country. They would stop the road so you couldn't get the buses of people in. We'd come back this is under Obama with Biden, if you can believe it, Biden. So I said, that's okay. We're not going to pay them anymore. As soon as they heard that, they called up, three of them separately. Sir, there seems to be a misunderstanding. What's the problem, sir? I said, you're not taking the people that you sent us back. You're not sending the people that were in your jails. You're not taking them back. Well, but, sir, you haven't paid us the money that you're supposed to pay. I said, no, I'm not going to pay. Sir, really, there seems to be a misunderstanding. We would love to take them back, sir. Don't you understand that? So they took them back, and we took out thousands and thousands of people in this country, and I mean the most vicious people you've ever seen. Gang members, a lot of terrorists. We took out people that nobody believed, and we had for 4 years. You know, I never talked about it during the 4-year period. I didn't want to give myself a little bad luck, and then the next day something happens. We didn't have one attack in 4 years. We had the travel ban. We banned people from coming in that weren't good. The Biden administration is running on the fumes of the great success of the Trump administration. They're just running on the fumes of what we did with the tax cuts and the regulation cuts. Without us, this thing would have crashed to levels never seen before. And if we're not elected, we will have a depression, the likes of which you haven't seen since the Depression of 1929. We're not talking about a recession. You're going to have a lot worse than that. The way they're wasting trillions of dollars on Green New Deal nonsense and giving it away to other countries. Crooked Joe Biden's failed presidency has already cost your family tens of thousands of dollars a year, and now he's running on the biggest and most punishing tax hike in American history. You know that. He's going to quadruple your taxes. Biden plans to obliterate the Trump tax cuts and raise income taxes on American families all across the nation. Crooked Joe will put you really in the poorhouse, and I think I don't even get the politics of it. What is the politics of it? They don't know what they're doing, but you're going to be in the poorhouse to fund his big government Green New Deal, which is a socialist scam. And you know what? You have to be careful. It's going to put us all in big trouble. The Green New Deal that doesn't work. It's the Green New Scam. Let's call it. Let's call it from now on the Green New Scam. Okay. Windmills, windmill. I do like that term. I just came up with that one. I have to. No, I do like that term. The Green New Scam. It will forever be known as the Green New Scam. I like that. I like that. Here is my pledge to every New Hampshire family. I will never let the Trump tax cuts, and they are the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, I will never let them be taken away from you, and with your vote in this election, we will cut your taxes even further. That's what built our economy. That's why we had such a strong economy. Biden is also trying to impose a vicious increase to the estate tax or the death tax, wants to put you out of business. It's a shame. What a shame. As president, I virtually eliminated the death tax, and I will stop Biden's theft of American wealth when I'm back in the White House. We're going to stop it so fast. You know, under the Trump tax cuts, if you have a small business, if you have a farm, you don't have to pay any estate taxes. They were taking away your businesses. They were taking away your farms. The farmers had a problem because they were a little bit, you would say, land rich. But it was great. It was a great wealth, but it wasn't cash. And they had to go out and they had to borrow money from banks, and then the banks would, you know, come down and foreclose because they couldn't pay it because they had such a high tax. We got rid of it. We got rid of the estate tax. A lot of people don't even know that, but we got rid of the estate tax for farms, small businesses, and I hope you're happy with that. I always say, if you love your children, it's a big deal. If you don't love your children, it doesn't matter that much. Is there anybody in the room that does not love their children? I'd like to say. Yes, oh, he raises a hand, but he's just a child. He's just a child. There's a man right there. Is that? Oh, look, he's serious about it. Wow, he's serious about it. All right, well, then you shouldn't listen to those words. You earned your money and you spent a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in doing it, and I want you to keep it in your family, and that's what we did. Sadly, the backstabbing establishment losers and the sellouts lagging far behind us in the Republican primary. They are really far. Whatever happened to the surge? Whatever happened to the bounce? You know, with Nikki, they talk about the surge. And with the sanctimonious, they talk about the bounce. They've been talking about it for the last 6 months. And the only one that had a surge and the only one that had a bounce is Trump. We had the big surge. I saw where they said last week, Nikki Haley is surging. And then I said, oh, that's not good news. That's not good. And she is compared to him, but not compared to us. So we're like at 70. She's at 7. And she went up to 8, and he went down to 9, and she could overtake him, but we'll be about anywhere from 50 to 60 to 70 points above. And they talk about the surge. You have to read the story to believe it. That's the fake news. There is no surge. No, there is no surge. It's fake news. Whoa. There's a lot of them back there. Whoa. There's a lot of fake news back there. What are you doing? You don't have anything better to do on a Saturday afternoon? Look at all. But they're the sellouts that are lagging far behind us in the Republican primary at record levels. You know, the Des Moines Register came out in Iowa, and they had a poll that had me up by the largest number in the history of the poll. Other than that, we're not doing so well. No, in Iowa, we're ahead by like 45 points. I don't mean we're at 45. I mean we're ahead by 45. They gotta start that surge fast. They gotta start that bounce. They gotta get that bounce going. But these are people that can't be trusted on taxes, on trade, or on anything else, frankly. They will betray you just like they betrayed me. Does that make sense to you? You know what I mean, right? Does everybody know what I mean? You get betrayed. And when you get betrayed, you don't put up with it. And remember this, look, New Hampshire does not want politicians who support higher gas taxes, a 23% national sales tax like the sanctimonious did. That's all you want. Let's give you a little sales tax of 23%. You don't want politicians who want to gut Social Security and Medicare like both of them, or our great senior. I don't even talk about the others. You know, you still have this guy. You still have this guy. No, think of it in the race. I looked the other day. You have, well, we like Ramaswamy. You know why? Because he likes Trump. I like him. I mean, this is probably a personality defect, but I tend to like people that like me. But if you take a look at Hutchinson, this guy's still in the race. He's been at zero. Hutchinson has been at zero for 6 months, and he's still out campaigning. Ada, I call him Ada. It's Asa. I have to say it's Asa because otherwise they'll say, oh, he didn't know his name. He didn't know. No, I call him Ada. It's a more appropriate name. But no, this guy's out. This guy's out campaigning. He's been at zero. One poll had him zero with an arrow pointing less. That means he's at less than zero for months. He's been campaigning. Does he have nothing better to do? And who oh, he says, what about, please, sir, do not call him a fat pig. We cannot call. He says, what about Christie? He's a fat pig. You can't call. No, look. Please do not call Chris Christie a fat pig. Okay? It's not appropriate. Because you're not allowed to use the word fat. Use the word pig, but you can't use the word. No, we don't want to call him that. I don't want to call him that. And all of them, they opposed the Trump travel ban on entry from terror-afflicted countries. If that's okay with you, I'd rather have that. We're going to have very little crime in this country very soon. As soon as we get in, we're going to have very little crime in this country. There are some in New Hampshire who are actually advocating radical left Democrats to vote in our Republican primary to help make our big lead look a little bit smaller. It's not going to have a huge effect, but you know what? Don't let it happen. Don't let it happen. These are subversive people. Don't let it happen. We need to send them a message. We have to send the whole world a message because the world thinks our country is a total mess, and it is. You don't want a candidate to do your bidding and the bidding of Wall Street, the Washington establishment, the fake news media, the deep state, and the military-industrial complex, of which I was a big contributor because I bought more. I rebuilt our entire military. Much of it coming from New Hampshire, as you know. Much of that beautiful new stuff, unfortunately, gave a lot. They gave a lot. They gave a lot to Afghanistan, about $85 billion worth, which is in the most shocking and horrible period of time, I think, in the history of the most embarrassing period of time in the history of our country. 13 incredible soldiers killed, 38 horribly wounded, arms, legs, face horribly obliterated, hundreds of people dead, and leaving a lot of Americans behind, and leaving $85 billion worth of equipment behind. These people are stupid people. They're stupid. They're stupid people. You know, we didn't lose one soldier in Afghanistan for 18 months. I told the head of the Taliban, the media got upset when I called. They said, why would you speak to the Taliban? I said, that's where the problem is. Remember, they asked Jesse James, Jesse, the great bank robber, Jesse, why do you go after banks? He said, because that's where the money is. I went after the Taliban because that's where the killing was. And I spoke to Abdul. I said, Abdul, don't do it. Abdul, don't do it. We didn't lose. It was a rough conversation, but that's okay. We didn't lose one soldier from that conversation on. 18 months, we didn't have one soldier. Under Obama and Biden, they had a lot of people. We didn't lose one soldier until that horrible day, that horrible, stupid day. What a stupid group of people. They took the military out first. No, you take the military out last. You get your people out first. You get your equipment out. You get your people that have helped us out. There are those people. Of course, you know, we won a war. We took people that we have no idea who they are. We didn't take the people that helped us. We took whoever was able to get into those airplanes. Remember the sight of those planes pulling up with many people on the planes, hanging onto the wheels and falling at 3,000 feet. I mean, it was what a mess. What a mess. This guy Biden is the worst we've ever had.